At 34, I did an apprenticeship as in get up at 5:30 and I'm normally in my room probably 9 o'clock.
G'day, I'm Jason and welcome to another episode of Fit for FIFO, where this week we meet Darrin from New Zealand, where he shares with us the long road he's taken and proves that you're never too old to retrain. He demonstrates to us his give anything a go attitude and what it's helped him achieve, and shares with us an important tip which he planned for 2 years prior to starting FIFO. So let's go meet Darrin. Darrin, welcome to Fit to FIFO, mate.
Thanks.
Firstly, I'll just ask you, I'll get you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
47, did an apprenticeship, from New Zealand, sorry.
Yeah.
Did an apprenticeship as a fitter turner originally at 18 and got into a bit of a nice job, but it was too comfortable, sort of thing, stay there all your life, but didn't really enjoy it, but it was good money. Decided to saw my mates that did instrumentation and electrical, and I quite like that because they never really worked that hard.
Yeah.
Working with metal, I was always sweating and banging things and heating stuff up, and my mates are just like with a little screwdriver, and
Yeah.
I was like, I want a bit of that. So at 34, I did an apprenticeship as an industrial instrumentation for 3.5 years.
Oh yeah. Whereabouts is that?
This is back in New Zealand.
Yep.
In a paper mache mill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
paper mill.
Making paper mache.
But now that I'm in oil and gas, paper mache. Kids.
Yeah.
So did that. It was pretty hard. Going back to learning and all that sort of stuff, and even the kids are like, man, I can't believe at your age you're still studying. They're just like, you must be so dumb. I was like, you just wait. But
Yeah.
it was hard, but it was good.
Yeah.
Good goal.
Good choice.
And when I did that, I finished that, and I decided to leave the mill, which was like nobody ever does that.
Yeah.
And that was like the scariest thing to do because you just stay there for life.
Yeah. Right.
So left and didn't have any job to go do anything, but it was sweet as. Ended up just starting my own instrument business and just contracting out.
Yep.
So that was good. And then ended up in another mill job and did another full electrical apprenticeship because everybody wants dual trade.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
I thought once you did instruments that was it, but
Yeah.
then they all want dual trade, so did another electrical apprenticeship.
Yep.
And then decided to just getting comfortable again and said to the missus, I want to go and try this FIFO thing out.
Yep.
And here I am.
Yeah. Right. Money wasn't a factor.
Yeah.
And you could do anything you want to do in life. What would it be?
Helicopter pilot.
Helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Which,
Yeah, right. So tell us a bit about your position in FIFO and your experience in FIFO.
this was my first one,
Right.
and also coming to Australia. CSU Instro, so commissioning and startup Instro. I did not know anything of what I was going to do. Did not know anything about it.
Yeah.
But my mate pretty much started here 7-8 months before me and sort of schooled me up and pretty much got me the job, really.
Yeah. Say you were back, just left school.
Yeah.
You didn't have any experience of trade behind you.
Yeah.
However, you had the knowledge of this industry, FIFO industry, of how it all works. How would you go about getting into it straight out of school?
You really need to go and get a trade.
Mm-hmm.
and even back in New Zealand now, getting a dual trade electrical instrument, that's just very hard. It almost comes down to who you know, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, I think in Australia it may be a bit easier with, you still have a lot of apprenticeships going for electrical, and you can get your trade experience on your instruments.
Mm-hmm. So FIFO workers face probably a lot of different problems, I suppose, than someone who works in the city.
Yeah.
What would you say something one of them is, and how do you deal with it?
I think mainly is dealing with problems back home, even just little, computer won't start, just with family.
Yeah.
Computer won't start, or car won't start, and just with your partner or missus or whatever, or their wife or kids are playing up, and if they ring you up and there's not a lot, you can, quite frustrating, you can't just go. So that's, for myself it was, we made sure we were pretty much set up as in, got the missus 2 years before I come over here to take care of all the finances. Before I used to do all that. So she's comfortable with all of that. She got friends who she knows who to ring if something breaks down, and good neighbourhood and that sort of stuff. But I think it'd be very hard with guys with young kids.
Yeah, right. In regards to coming from New Zealand, tell us about a typical day of travel, what it involves to get to work.
Here in Curtis Island, it's not too bad, so I normally get up at 5:30 back in New Zealand, and I catch a little domestic plane up to Auckland, which is a city in New Zealand, if most people don't know Auckland. And jump on a plane over to Brisbane and hang out in Brisbane for quite a few hours, and end up in Gladstone about 5:30, which is 7:30 New Zealand time.
So another flight from Brisbane to Gladstone.
Yeah, another flight from Brisbane to Gladstone, and then wait around there for a bit, bus trip, and then our ferry. Another bus trip, but it's normally all day.
Right. So you leave at 5:30.
Get up at 5:30, and I'm normally in my room probably 9 o'clock New Zealand time.
Yeah, right.
So it's a long day, but I don't find it stressful or anything like that. Yeah,
right. And do you have to pay for anything like during that travel?
The company pays me back to Auckland.
Okay, yeah.
But my next gig, just with the way the situation is with FIFO at the moment, sort of swinging more to the business side and taking away sort of certain privileges, I'd say my next one I'll be paying myself back to Auckland, which is what a lot of guys do anyway.
Oh, okay, from New Zealand.
Yeah, so I'll just base myself point of hire Brisbane, and fly myself back to New Zealand.
Yeah, okay. And does it still make it financially viable to do?
Very much so. Yeah.
So I suppose you're coming from another country. You are close to Australia and whatnot, but do you think there's more banter thrown at you being from New Zealand, or is it all the same?
Exactly the same, to be honest. Maybe a different type of banter, but I've been in heavy industry all my life, and it's pretty much exactly the same.
Okay.
Exactly the same. Might be slightly different, but still exactly the same.
Yeah, okay. Like you were saying before, you started FIFO a bit later in life.
Yes, I should have started early.
What difficulties did you face getting into it? Was it much of a challenge?
Nah, just straight down to who you know, really.
Yep.
I think if you know someone who's in it and they can vouch for your qualifications and skills, then you have no dramas.
Oh, sweet as Des, that was choice. We're mates. Banter. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. Next week's episode, we got Darrin back for part 2 of his interview, where he tells us about what the hardest thing is for him working in FIFO and talks to us about the problems with some of the current rosters on offer. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for regular updates, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
I've done that once in the year, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Booze and drugs and strippers and that sort of stuff. And